status, and that job interview, I want it to do well because that can level me up some way. So it really comes down to that. And I think then when we go into the idea of the intersection of digital fashion and crypto, it's the same thing. It's about serving desire. And that desire takes more complex forms because now we're really looking at different ways of value exchange. And that's, going back to kind of Karinna's definition of, well, why is an NFT so valuable? Why is it beyond the hype? Because it unfreezes us this value. And from a fashion sense, when we think about gaming, that's more of a utility to it. So if someone can, wear digital fashion and then they can actually take that into a gaming environment, for example, not just self-express, this is, my digital version of myself across the metaverse, value from that, which now proves into like the intersection later on, that just compounds everything. And that's really, my interest in where I look at, well, it's not just and how can I wear cosmetically digital fashion and self-express, but if you can back that by more utility and use that as a tool for someone to achieve their desire, level themselves up in their life, get a better job or impress. That's really what it's unlocking. Is it's going to desire, it's going back to unfreezing value in their lives and then compounding that. That's really what fashion, gaming, crypto, that whole intersection does, which the traditional fashion industry just can't do. As you pointed out before, it's all locked within distributed. It's not about serving the buyer, the wearer, the designer. It's really about serving, those few people that might just be on paper or the shareholders of a specific entity.
Yeah, I think it's also an amazing opportunity to just design a business model that works better for everybody, because I think the fashion industry may be looking at this and feeling a little scared or just, not understanding like what is coming. Is this going to just ruin everything? So I feel like fashion, clothing as a function is never going to go away, but now that we're introducing this new...
I think they have an idea of what's coming next.
I don't think either. This is why we're here. So I think this is the whole point, is trying to also just increase literacy and decrease fear about the opportunity. I think so. The de-risking this innovation, even though it might mean a lot of changes for the way things work today. And Natalia, I'd love to ask you about DressX. Your company was founded in 2020 at a time where people were primarily wearing pajama bottoms all day long. At least I was. I don't know, maybe this is just my admission, but over the last year and a half, technology played a very important role in connecting people virtually during a time of severe immobility. So your company recognized the damaging impact that wastefulness and business models, specifically of fast fashion, combined with consumers' insatiable desire for more, can be causing. And it's also matching statistics. Gartner's recent report, I think, identified that 2/3 of consumers believe that it is the responsibility of businesses to take a leadership role in solving key issues that we are facing as a society. And myself, as a marketer, I often come across surface level awareness activism about sustainability, circularity, carbon buybacks, tree planting initiatives that are often just backdrops for improving either PR image, or they're just not significant enough for it to not be a greenwashing campaign at the core. And your mission of don't shop less and shop digital doesn't discourage people from minimizing their appetite for more, but it offers an alternative to impulsive buying just for the Instagram. So in the long run, do you see shopping digitally being a sustainable alternative for the fashion industry, or can it metastasize into something that's being used just to proliferate what's already happening?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great topic to cover. And respond about this like greenwashing effect, etc. I believe that not only for digital fashion, but for every brand, unless it's a part of a business model, there is no way to be called not a greenwashing. If it's just like a one collection, a one campaign, and not a part of a system, then it's kind of a greenwashing effect happening here. And of course, it takes time for every company and for every business and for like industries in general to turn into other way. But again, it requires this kind of approach and vision that it should be a part of the business model. Otherwise, it's just, I don't know, just nice thing to have and to talk about. And in terms of a digital fashion, if it's a sustainable alternative, yes, now we call it a sustainable alternative because again, there was a statistics. I wish there would be more data, and we are looking for it. That 9% of purchases in the UK happen for the sake of taking a picture. And it's not all the returns because there is so much more of the returns. It's just something that was admitted to be purchased and ordered by for the picture. And this is a statistics from Barclays Bank, and it's from a couple of years ago now. So I assume data is changing, but as of today, we have this goal to replace just this 9% of purchases with a digital fashion, and this will already have a huge impact. But further down the way, of course, there is so much more space and opportunity for digital fashion rather than just this like 9% for it's just this 9% for the use case of taking a picture of good about how beautiful you are. But then there are other kind of opportunities to have a digital presence and to have interactions with other people digitally. Again, right now is just the most common use case to have something that actions with a video camera, right? And seeing still each other, but through the video camera. Of course, this like avatars era, holograms era, and the digital visual identity era is coming. Again, it's just taking some time and to the digital fashion wardrobe.
Nice.
We're just bridging this gap with this like yourself, and it's good that kind of we were lucky to to have this time when everyone is locked and connecting through the screens, because this helped to kind of deliver the message why it's important and how you can use it and how you can think about digital fashion at all and what it gives to you personally and speak to every single person in that language. So that's just a transitional mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're also at the beginning of trying to also understand the impact that our digital footprints have, because I recently learned that our emails or the emails that we just even send or our browsing sessions also have a tremendous impact. So it might seem very invisible that our activity, just kind of like goes into the ether and exists in the internet, but I think it's also really amazing to see how as this digital fashion industry scales, there's also an understanding from the very beginning that it is not happening out of thin air. So that's really encouraging. Kerry, I'd love to highlight a campaign that you were working on this past year with between Adidas and Karlie Kloss that involved a blockchain competition and an auction of young creators' designs of a physical jacket in its digital form. So the campaign was a digital fashion campaign for a physical garment. And now that's a very interesting use case for digital fashion because the design of the garment, the secret sauce of a brand that they used to hold near and dear to their heart, was now publicly released, inviting artists to customize it. And the campaign offered a brand like Adidas an opportunity to create multiple activation touchpoints while trying to promote their physical collection with Karlie. So tell us more about where do you think this crossover between physical retail, digital fashion, and blockchain really will enable this type of experience to take us into the future of retail?
Very good point that you made about Adidas giving away basically their IP, which is the patterns of the jacket itself, because that allows for counterfeit, that allows for people to download the file and make the jacket as is. But that's happening anyways. You can get the physical jacket and you can measure the patterns and you can create a counterfeit item. But for fashion brands, those patterns is their big IP. And I think maybe the client was not aware of this aspect that was going on in the campaign, because I think if they would have been aware of it, there would have been a lot of legal departments going to be part of that, especially for a big corporation like Adidas. I'm quite happy that that didn't become an issue and we were able to distribute it, because we're super excited about that campaign simply because of the collaborative aspect and that came through the community, and it really showed that there's a lot of passion in the community, and that co-creation, that collaboration is actually very powerful and the key to success to digital fashion. Now, where I believe that companies like Adidas or any other physical fashion company will be focusing on in the short term, but really putting their efforts to in the long term, is this idea of the digital first approach. And we were just discussing it with the virtual retail approach, where we believe that all of these brands, their customer touch point, or the first customer touch point, will actually be a digital experience. And for lack of a better example, you could think of it that you come into your browser and you open up the game. Let's call it the Adidas retail game, where you have an avatar and you're walking around the store with an avatar that's maybe naked, and there's going to be a bunch of like mannequins, clothing, and you're going to look at it like you look at it at the store, and you're like, okay, I want that garment, and it's going to appear. Whether it looks like you or whether it doesn't look like you is going to be a big discussion as well. But it's kind of like this digital experience that we're going to have. And since you buy, let's say, that digital item virtually, that's going to give you what do you call it, the ticket to actually go to the physical store and redeem the physical item as well. So this is what I see a lot of brands talking about. This is what I see some crypto companies experimenting with, is really this idea that we're going to buy the digital item first, which is going to be an NFT, and it's going to give you the access to the physical item. And I think that's going to be the first touch point. I think the positive thing that's going to come through that, it's going to allow people to have that digital first interaction with the garment, where they're going to start seeing value in the digital file, with the long-term effect of it actually being, people are going to be like, I don't even want to go to the store. I don't want to have the physical item. I'm a digital item. Simply because that NFT, you get to use it in games, you get to use it in your virtual life. But I think the biggest value is going to be the resale market. Something that we already experience with companies like StockX, what we see with the whole sneaker market, the resale market actually being super powerful. Now the downside of a physical sneaker resale market is you can't wear that sneaker, you can't take it out of the box, you have to put it in your closet or in your garage, and only thing you can do with it is just like show it to your friends every now and then for it to hold its value. Now, the great thing about the digital item is that it will retain its value. It will not only retain its value, it will grow in value, and it will not deteriorate. So that kind of the value is only going to go up, and there's not going to be any